What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Demo Diamond Toby back with another video. Today we're watching Beyond Dragon Ball Super. All 12 angels assembled together, invasions on planet Sadala in Universe 6. Okay, this is about UnrealEntGaming, and yeah, we're watching the Dark Masters, you know what I'm saying, do their thing, and yeah, and this has been pretty good story so far, man. I can't wait till the ending. We're almost caught up to it, but you know, we always gonna be like a few. We're gonna be a few behind. You know what I'm saying? That's cool, right? So let's get into it, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. Let's go.
As our story now continues, following the initial events of all 12 Angel attendees now shown gathered around and having to figure out a way and having to break through the barrier that was keeping Zeno at bay, as with all of the Angels now struggling and coming up with a solution in breaking through this barrier in order to reach the sleeping Omni Kings, was when the Angel Whis went on to then respond. Well, be that as it may, my dear siblings, it would only now appear as though while the situation grows more dire by the moment, this barrier that surrounds the Omni King's palace is unlike anything that we've ever encountered before, as even despite with our combined knowledge and power, nothing appears to be working, with Vados having to respond. And while I second Whis' expression, it is no exaggeration to say that this barrier was crafted with absolute perfection through the wish that was made that forged such a protective layer, as it would only appear as though it had been crafted with a level of intent that seems to counteract every known force, including our own, in having to break through it, with Angel Cuss chiming in, and we are absolutely sure that this was done by the hands of these Dark Masters from within the Demon Realm after gathering and using
all
the Super
12
Dragon Balls, correct?
angels.
And where exactly is the Grand Minister at the moment, because I am unable to sense his essence no matter where it is that I turn, with Vados responding, that is correct, for this was all done by the hands of those Dark Masters, but while we don't know as to what happened to the Grand Minister or where he could be, we still must go about by having to try and locate the Super Dragon Balls along with the Dark Masters before it is too late, with Whis having to then respond, well, I'm afraid to say that if we cannot go and find a solution to try and bypass the barrier in time, then the very balance of the entire multiverse itself may end up falling within their control, Whis says. And while those Dark Masters are slowly advancing their plans by using the Super Dragon Balls within a realm that we cannot yet detect on our own, and if we only continue to go and delay this matter any further, then we will only run the risk in allowing for a force like Raijin to become an even greater threat to us than Myrna was if we don't go and find a way to stop those Dark Masters from using the Super Dragon Balls in time, which to only go and make matters worse if we remain unable to go and reach the Omni Kings and restore that balance in time, Whis continues, then their sinisterly ultimate and evil plans will proceed until the very end, as a worried Vados went on to then chime back in, but how are we to know on which realm they are all currently inside of by using those Super Dragon Balls if we cannot sense the Dragon Ball's magic, since the realm that they are all hiding inside of appears to be masking their life energy, along with the magic that the Super Dragon Balls are able to emit, and if we don't quite know on which time chamber they are all currently hiding within, then where should we go and start looking if we want to go and find them, with Whis responding, well, although it won't be easy, we'll simply have to go and quickly try to scout them all in hopes that we will go and find the exact location of the one in which they are all currently hiding within, and so we must still go and try, Whis says, for they cannot simply go and think that they can remain hidden and hide within the shadows forever, and so we have to go and search, with Angel Martini having to then chime in, and what about our residing universes that are left unattended while we go and search for these so-called Dark Masters, as we can't just go and leave them empty without having to help oversee them in case each of our gods of destruction are to somehow fail to stop whatever may be knocking on their front door. Yes, for I also agree, Angel Mojito went on to then chime in, and what's even more troublesome about this entire situation is that there is no telling on how much time we will end up wasting in having to search for these creatures, which only leaves our universes open for an attack in case we are not there to help oversee them, with Vados having to then respond, well, she's right, Whis, for we cannot hope to waste all of our time here just by searching if it means having to leave our universes open for an attack, and so what do you propose that we should go and do, with Whis responding, well, let us go and try and see if we can search where we can into seeing what other realms and worlds those Dark Masters could be hiding within, so that way we may go and have a better understanding as to where to look and where not to look, since all we can really do is search for them within the moment while that barrier remains, with Angel Cognac having to then respond, then we should try and take this time to go search far and wide, since time really isn't something that we have on our hands here. And so because of this, we should go and combine our search in hopes of expanding our reach, wouldn't you agree? With Angel Margarita responding, well then if that's the case, then we should go and try to take the little time that we have here to search as far as we can for any energy signature that we can detect, and hoping to find the realm in which they are using to hide within. And so that way we can only hope that our combined efforts in having to search for those Dragon Balls end up paying off, with Angel Corn
I hope it pays off.
chime in. So shall we go and see what we can find while we attempt to skim through the vast multitude of realms and dimensions?
Demon Slayer.
Then, with Cuss having to then chime in, well, ultimately it's worth a shot. And so now let us all go and hone in on where they could possibly be while we can, because if we don't at least stop to try to find out as to where they are, then this could ultimately backfire on us all later on if we don't go and end up taking action now. Right, and so now then Whis responds upon having to see all 12 angels point their staffs in the middle by having to search every single realm together as they did. Then let us now go and look and see what we can find, because while it is still very important for us to pinpoint the exact whereabouts of where those Dark Masters are keeping those Super Dragon Balls, the quicker we are able to go and trace their energy source, then the faster the chances will be in having to stop them from using them before it's too late, with Vados having to then chime back in. And then to even think that these demons had gone as far as to not only gather but use the Super Dragon Balls the way they did is not only concerning and having me wonder on what else they intend on using them for, but it is also very urgent that we make sure to stop them beforehand before they are able to use them again, with Whis having to then chime back in. Well, just keep searching, fellow angels, and if you just so happen to stumble upon any known signature that traces back to the Super Dragon Balls, Whis continues, then that will more than likely be the dimension that they are all hiding within. But so far I don't appear to be seeing anything on my end, with Vados chiming back in. Well, neither do I, but with so many dimensions and so many realms that are made available in exploring, we'll just have to go and be very careful to not overlook any of them while we're searching, for even the slightest inclination can be served within our favor. As Angel Cuss went on to then respond, well, so far I don't appear to sense or see anything on my end either, and with so many realms and dimensions for us to go and look into, the Super Dragon Balls along with those Dark Masters could be hiding anywhere. But just keep looking, fellow angels.
Keep
with
looking.
Margarita having to then respond, and if we only just had a little bit more time in expanding our search, then I have no doubt that we would have been able to find them. But since we aren't in any position to wait any longer, it unfortunately doesn't appear as though that I am able to go and find them on my end either, with Angel Cognac having to then respond, and the same can be said for me as well. And if we cannot go and find a way to locate the Grand Minister and free the Omni Kings from their captivity, then I can only go and imagine as to the horrors that will wait if they are no longer around to help aid us during this entire ordeal. As Angel Cocktail went on to then respond, well, I don't appear to be getting anything on my end here either, which likely means that those Dark Masters are using some kind of an energy masking technique that is preventing themselves and the Super Dragon Balls from being located. But then it was only just within that very moment, as all 12 angels had come across a very unknown and strange energy signature, was when Vados went on to then quickly respond, hey, wait a second now, hold on, did the rest of you just go and feel what I just felt? That sudden but yet very faint surge of energy just now. Or did you happen to also go and feel that too, Whis? With Whis responding, I did, and from what it was that I had just sensed, would only seem as though there is something that is beginning to faintly echo throughout the multiverse, which only now leaves me to believe that the Dark Masters must have likely started to go and use the Super Dragon Balls once more to go and make another wish. But it is almost impossible for me to go and trace the source on where
it's possible, but so quick.
From, with Angel Kapari then having to respond, well, whatever that was is gone by now, but to attempt to try and trace it back to a source almost seems impossible with the way this energy surge had passed us by. But what say you, Sour? Well, I in fact second this notion, Angel Sour went on to then respond, which only now raises that many more concerns about our universes if we don't do something and return to them.
All these random ass universes.
I couldn't go and agree more, Angel Margarita went on to then chime in, as something's wrong, and while we can't seem to trace on where that surge of energy was just shown having to come from, as our universes remain open without having us stand by them, we only further run the risk in having all of them be destroyed if we don't go and take some kind of an action now. Oh, and while I unfortunately have to agree with the idea that we will have to go and cut our search off short in looking for them, Angel Cuss went on to then respond, it would only be best if we go and stand guard in defending our universes before we are to allow out for something to go and happen to them in the meantime, with Whis responding, and while I also hereby sense a strong disturbance that is starting to echo throughout the multiverse, I am hereby left with no other choice since we cannot seem to locate the Dragon Balls on our own, for I would only now be left with one other choice, and that is to go and seek out their creator Zalama for answers, since
oh,
he
not
in fact may
Zalama.
be our very last hope in
Not
finding the Super
Zalama.
Dragon Balls, Whis says, and especially since he was the one who had originally created them for Grand Zeno to go and use, as I would have no doubt that if there is anyone who can help grant us the knowledge that we need to shatter this barrier and reclaim the Super Dragon Balls, then it's no doubt going to be the creator Zalama who can. And so while I volunteer to undertake this journey to locate Zalama and seek out his wisdom alone, Whis continues, the rest of you are to return back to your respective universes and wait on my return.
Okay, Whis Captain Angel.
That are on the line could not be any higher, and so you all must go and take your leave now while I go on my search to go and try to find him. And so now hurry and go and make your way back to your worlds, as I will go and inform you all with what I find as I go and take my leave to find Zalama now. And so in the meantime, Whis went on to address Vados upon having to see the other 10 angels then take their leave, and I only ask for you to go and look after yourself, and please be aware of your surroundings in the meantime while I go and see what I can find, for if I am unable to go and find a solution to this problem, then we are all on our own, and so now please be cautious, with Vados responding, and as should you, Whis, and if anything were to go and happen, I will go and let the others know in the meantime while we go and hope to get down to the bottom of this mess, and so now please do your best, Whis, which it was only then within that very moment as both Whis and Vados, the final two angels, were then shown having to take their leave, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, and I will, but let's just hope that we are not too late in having to stop these demons, as I could only hope that time is still on our side in the long run by the time this day is through, Whis says. To which all the while in the meantime, as this was shown happening, when then having to venture on over into Capsule Corp and having to oversee the android speak with both Bulma and Dr. Hedo, was when Android 18 then went on to respond, so that little piece in 17's hand over there came from one of those demons that you believe you can go and use to do what with us now? And why exactly should we be so trusting of you to begin with, Dr. Hedo, with 17 having to respond, and let's not go and forget about the fact that you're also related to Dr. Gero, and you should already be well aware of what it was that we went and did with him once we went and find out that he was planning on betraying us in the long run, and so why should we go and trust you? Well, because if what it was that Goku had said that he had seen within that demon realm is to be true, Bulma responds, then we're going to need all of the help and all of the enhancements that we could get our hands on if we hope to walk away from this entire ordeal with our planet intact, which I'm pretty sure that the two of you can already go and attest for, given what happened the last time we were placed in a hopeless situation like this, as Dr. Hedo went on to then respond,
okay.
Well, given the nature on how my grandfather and I are completely opposite with all things considered, you'll simply have no other choice but to just simply go and trust me, as we don't have a lot of time on our hands, and so I'll need for the both of you to go and listen to me, because what it is that I'm about to go and tell you is going to be very important that I do not wish for you to go and lose sight of, for we are dealing with forces that go far beyond anything that we've seen before on this planet, and we'll need to be ready for anything and everything just in case something were to go and happen here on Earth in the meantime, for these very forces that we face could possibly even go as far as to exploit even the smallest of weaknesses among us, Dr. Hedo continues, and this is where the two of you will go and come in, as I only hereby come to you both with a proposal to enhance your abilities without compromising your nature in ways that'll ensure our survival just in case something were to go and unfold here within the process as we go and buy our time, for if we simply don't go and prepare ourselves for what is to come now, then we may end up finding ourselves in a scenario where even your remarkable abilities won't be enough to keep such enemies as these demons at bay, Dr. Hedo continues, and as I only want to hereby introduce you both to Gamma 1 and Gamma 2's original stasis chambers, where the two of you will be stationed in for the time being, for what it is
I don't know, that boy, they don't want to get locked back up, 17 and 18.
You both unique at your core, Dr. Hedo continues, but it is rather more about having to enhance what's already there and sharpening your powers to further ensure that you are both ready for any of these demon enemies in case you were to find yourselves
so they about to get strong.
And with Bulma's unparalleled intellect along with my own expertise, we've went along to go as far as to study the properties of that demon horn extensively, for it contains traces of energy and genetic material that could go and benefit us in the long run, and this is where the both of you come into the picture, Dr. Hedo continues, continues, because by carefully merging its essence with your already pre-existing systems, we can go and create a defense that not only resists your magic, assuming if they go and have any, but we could also go as far as to potentially go and turn it and use it against them if they try, Dr. Hedo continues. So just imagine on being able to render their tricks useless before they can even go and attempt them against you, in which you would both be able to look more into while also enhancing both your speed, your power, and your awareness to greater levels, Dr. Hedo says.
Okay, Dr. Hedo.
To enhance our powers and abilities by using the DNA samples of those very demons to go and use that against them, 18 went on to then question. But would that really go as far as to actually work? With 17 responding, and more importantly is, how are you both so sure that we aren't going to end up turning into one of those monsters in the long run? Because although it would go as far as to help us track those demons down and cancel out whatever kind of tricks they attempt to go and try on us, how could we go and be so sure that this upgrade is going to keep us both stable? With Bulma responding, well, if you're worried that the two of you will end up evolving into becoming like one of them, then that should be the least of your concerns, since the only thing that the two of you ought to worry about is by simply having longer hair and possibly new clothing pieces to match your newly upgraded looks. With 17 responding, so an upgraded and entirely new look, huh? Did you hear that, 18? Looks like our power isn't going to be the only thing that's going to be getting a makeover then. But tell me something while we go and decide, because you had mentioned on how this isn't going to change who we are, but mostly change and improve upon our power and abilities in the meantime. Is that correct? And you are absolutely sure that this isn't going to somehow have a negative impact on our standing, right? Because we really aren't too keen on crawling back inside one of these things after all. With 18 responding, but for what it's worth, we'll go and do what we need to if it means protecting the ones that we love. But just like 17 had just said, you are both positively sure that this upgrade isn't going to backfire on us, right? Well, yes, for that is correct, Dr. Hedo went on to then respond. For the upgrades that Bulma and I are proposing isn't going to change who you are by altering your humanity, your dignity, or your emotions, but rather than simply having to enhance your standing as you currently are, just in case this planet were to fall under some kind of an invasion. With 17 responding, and you are sure that none of this is going to backfire on us if we agree to go and do this, right? 17 questions, with Dr. Hedo responding correct. And while you may go and have your doubts, our main goal here is to ensure that you are both at your absolute best in case something were to go and start here. Because, well, simply put, even while as incredible as you both are, Dr. Hedo continues, the threats that we are facing now require us to think ahead, and I would much rather be ready than to be sorry. And so these,
I want to see how strong they get. It's gonna be fire.
Both of you unique, but more or less having this rather be more about refining it. And by doing this, we only hope to further enhance your abilities to ensure that nothing, not even these mysterious demons, can pose a threat to you or this planet if they just so have happened to go and make their way here as a result of it, Dr. Hedo continues. For your bodies will grow to become far more durable, as your shields will also grow to become far more stronger.
Their shields.
Your energy reading levels on using their own demonic energy against them will be far more useful than it would be harmful, as Bulma went on to then chime in. And by doing this, not only do we plan on also upgrading Gamma 1 and having him join you in being an aid to us just in case we need it, Bulma says, but you two will undoubtedly be what this planet needs in case a full-scale invasion were to happen, since Vegeta and Goku are off handling other things with Lord Beerus and Whis in the meantime. And while they are all away, and at least we can know that we have the two of you here to stand alongside us just in case an attack were to suddenly break out in the meantime. With Dr. Hedo then having to respond, that's right, and while you have already proven yourselves to be amongst some of the most powerful warriors that this planet has ever known, with Bulma's genius and with my cutting-edge research, I can help transform you both into something far beyond what this world has ever seen, and into standing tall as not only becoming the ultimate fighting machines, but in also being perfectly suitable to match one another's strengths. And with these upgrades in line, and I will also ensure to enhance your ability to read and respond to each other's movements in creating a dynamic partnership that no demon could ever hope to outmaneuver. Well, how how about it then? Android 18 then went on to look over towards 17 by questioning. And as it sounds like we really have nothing left to lose in simply having to upgrade our powers, and since Bulma is here to back up Dr. Heto's claims, then we really don't have anything much to lose here by having to go through with this. With 17 responding, well then if that's the case, then I suppose that we should go and get this over with already, since it would help give us the edge in making sure that nothing goes over our heads in case we do end up finding ourselves locked within a battle against those demons if they were to wind up coming here. And so why not then? So alright, Dr. Heto, we'll agree to your offer and go along with your plan, 17 says, but we are only going to agree in having to do this solely due to us having to trust Bulma more over than yourself, and so don't go and take this personal either, because we're just, well, let's just go and say that we're simply playing it safe. And now that we are ready, 17 continues, just go on ahead and tell us on what you'd want the both of us to go and do, so that way we can hurry and make this quick while we still can. But all the while, in the meantime, as this was shown having to go down within Universe 7, as we then venture on over into Universe 6 and specifically having to take a look at planet Sadala, we only from that point then begin to oversee a very grim scenario of multiple Saiyans being shown laid out on the ground, with only one Saiyan being shown left remaining that went by the name of Ginger, as Ginger went on to flee for his life by then responding, I've got to go and hurry and warn the king about this, and just what in the world are these things? And as they just so happened to appear from out of nowhere and they slaughtered everyone, or I hope I'm not too late. Oh, did they notice me? Are they following me? For I can't go and chance these things and having to follow me back to the king if they are after me, Ginger says, as I've got to go and hide and see if any of them were on my trail before I proceed to warn King Sadala of this unexpected attack by those creatures. As my entire
those creatures,
was ripped
bitch?
apart out there, even for them having to take some hostage and sending them through those strange portals that I've never felt so powerless in my entire life. Oh, please, please, I hope that they didn't see me. Please, I hope that they didn't. For my fellow Saiyans, they're all gone. I'm so sorry for failing to protect you all, Ginger says, as I don't happen to see those things anywhere, especially the bigger ones, so they must have left. And if so, and if they truly are all gone, then this is my one and only chance to go and make a break for it back to the castle, Ginger says, as the faster I am able to move without being spotted or by having any of those monsters return, the better our situation will then be. But then, it was only shockingly enough from out of nowhere as one of the demon elites that went by the name of Okaru went on to grab onto Ginger by slamming him down onto the ground, was when Okaru then went on to quickly respond, a lone deserter, I see.
Oh shit.
Will not be so fortunate
Cabba,
to
where you at?
escape us again, Saiyan. Now stop me if I'm mistaken, but did I just overhear you mention the word king? So, it's your leader whom you were looking to go and reach, were you? Yes, for now we have a reason as to why we should remain on this world, and you are going to tell us on where we need to be in order to find this so-called king. And you will go on to do so now. So now give me the information that I seek and tell me where your king is hiding, or you will die, and I will not be asking you twice, with Ginger responding, I won't tell you anything, for I won't let you monsters go and slaughter any more of my fellow people. So now just go away and just leave this place, with Okaru responding, or else what? With Ginger having to then respond, or else you and your friends are going to be sorry that you have ever went and stepped foot on our planet, and so just leave. As Okaru went on to then respond, well, you don't get to go and tell me as to what to do, mortal child. And since you aren't going to go and tell me as to where the leader of your people on this planet is, then that only just means that you are expendable to me. And since you are no longer of any use to me, then may you go and perish alongside your brethrens. Now say goodbye, Saiyan. But then, it was only from out of nowhere within that moment, just before the demon elite was then shown having to put Ginger down, was when Cabba went on to surprisingly grab onto Okaru by then responding, oh no you don't, creature.
Okay, Cabba. Pull up then, Cabba.
Spill any more Saiyan blood here on this planet than you already have. What? A survivor among the slaughtered tribe, Okaru went on to then question. And just where exactly were you hiding this entire time, and how was it that you were able to go and slip through the cracks and having to avoid me this entire time, Saiyan? For your death itself will not go and stand without having it be the most brutal among them all, with Cabba responding, well, it doesn't really matter on how or what it was that I did, because now that we are all here and after finding out about the Saiyans that you've slaughtered along the way upon coming here, we will not allow for you to go and continue these acts anymore, you hear me? And so from here on, you are no longer going to shift your focus and attack those who aren't strong enough to fight back against you, Cabba continues, but instead, you are going to go and shift your focus onto us as your opponents from this moment moving forward. And so now hurry and go and get to safety while you're still able to flee, Ginger. Inform the others and wait on our return in the meantime, got it? For this has gone far enough, and although I don't know what you are or where it was that you came from or how it was that you even found our homeworld, but understand one thing, and that is we are going to go and make you pay for every one of our brothers and sisters that you went along to slaughter along the way.
Oh,
with
shit.
Okaru responding, why, you wretched Saiyan, for you have no idea on who you are dealing with, but I am going to make sure that you go and find out the hard way. Once
Man, what
I
you
go
gonna
and
do?
inevitably get my hands on you, and while you are brave to go about this by challenging me the way you are, what could you possibly be talking about when you say we, when all that I see that stands before me is you on the battlefield? Because without anyone else here who will go and fight to try and save you, I am going to tear your body apart and drain you of every ounce of blood that you have until there is nothing that remains, Okaru continues. For while you are all alone with me without anyone else here to help you, this is where you will die. But then, it was all of a sudden now, just within that very moment, as both Caulifla and Kale had gone as
Caulifla
far
and
as to make
Kale,
their
boy.
presence known, was when Caulifla went on to quickly interrupt Okaru by responding, and I wouldn't go and be so sure of that if I were you, demon, but let me go and make one thing very crystal clear to you here and now, as Planet Sadala is going to be the very last place that you will ever come to visit, as I don't care about who you are or where you happen to come from, and that is because you have went and made a very grave mistake by doing what you did and by attacking my people, Caulifla continues. So just in case if you happen to believe that Cabba is going to be all alone here, Caulifla continues, then you are in for a very rude awakening, because not only is Cabba not going to be alone here against you, but now that both me and my sister are here to stand alongside with him, you are about to go and find out now firsthand on what we here in Universe 6 are really all about.
What y'all all
Isn't
about
that
then?
right now, Kale? That's right, Kale then went on to quickly respond upon them being shown having to emerge, and while
said
I
that's
never
right,
would've
Don.
expected to ever see such a cruel and heartless monster like you on our planet like this, you are nothing more than a mindless beast who is blinded by your own arrogance, and Planet Sadala won't ever stand to accept such a fate at the hands of a monster like you. And if you stand
on
to
your
go and
ass.
think otherwise, Kale then continues, then you'll go on to learn differently once we go and show you the hard way, you monster, with Okaru responding, so you truly weren't alone, as I had assumed that you would go and be after all, but even now, while the three of you stand here as one in hopes of defeating me, this will not go on to end the way that you think that it's going to, because I don't care on how determined you are or how tightly you cling on to your so-called Saiyan bond, because in the end, all three of you are nothing more than insects who are standing in my path. For I was sent here onto this world to go and exterminate every last one of you, Okaru continues, and that's exactly what I intend to go and do, whether you three are going to be standing in the way of that plan or not. And so you may now go and try as you like, but this will not end in the way in which you think that it is, and that much I can already promise you, with Cabba responding, or so you think, but that's okay, because I really don't care about what you vow to try or do here against us. And that is simply because if there is one thing that I do know for a fact that'll happen here, Cabba says, it's that we aren't going to allow for your cowardly tactics and your senseless violence to break us, nor will we continue to stand idly by and watch you slaughter any more of our people. And you better not go and think even for a second that either one of us here are afraid of you, because we're not, Cabba says. And so now you can go and think what you want, but by the time this day is over, understand that both Kale, Caulifia, and myself stand united to defend planet Sadala here against you. And no matter how powerful you think that you are, and no matter how ruthless of a warrior you claim for yourself to be, Cabba says, you will not end up surviving on what we have that's coming for you, creature, as it was only right now during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Murno sequel, manga chapter number 21 special, then comes to a close.
Shout out to UnrealEntGaming for this video. Okay, things are heating up. Things are heating up. Cause I was wondering when I need some action. I need some more action. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for the big fight now. You know what I'm saying? So things are heating up, which is good. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter if you want to right here. Check out another video you might like right here, and I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.